and a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. So happy to be here with you inside of the Heritage Hill Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate your patience this morning as we had some technical things to work out. Got that all set and ready to go. Inside of these Heritage Hill Studios, we appreciate you going out to Heritage Hill out in Pompey, the Heritage Hill Brew House. Incredible view, incredible location right there nestled in the hills of upstate New York. And their newest location right here nestled into North Syracuse. That is Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse. So make sure you make your way over to Heritage Hill. There are multiple locations as they are our exclusive studio partner. And I could not be more proud to have such a fantastic name, a very noticeable name in our community because of their hard work, their dedication, their determination, and just everything that they've done to ingrain themselves in our community in a positive way. I want to thank Heritage Hill for all of that. You're with us inside of the Heritage Hill Studios on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, worldwide, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And once the shows go live, you can jump into the archive. Yesterday's broadcast already up there on the archive for you to listen to Murph and I do our sports cards show and tell, which we do proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Brought you that as well as our conversation on the state of the Oakland Athletics, the state of the Los Angeles Angels, what's going on with both of them. Why are these franchises looking similar when the Angels are spending so much money and the Oakland Athletics are typically not spending a lot? So we talked about both of those franchises and kind of what they look like in their move forward here. What are the Angels going to do with Rendon as well as, and I've been calling, I said Rendon before, so my apologies on that, but Anthony Rendon as well as, looking at Mike Trout's injuries and the fact that for the last, 4 seasons, he hasn't stayed healthy. Anthony Rendon hasn't played 60 games in a season for the Angels ever since they gave him his contract. And then the Oakland A's, are you going to move to Sacramento and then move to Vegas in 2028? Are you going to move at all? So a lot of questions, and I put some polls up. We're going to check those polls this morning and see what your thoughts are. So my conversation with Murph about that, as well as getting into should the college NCAA tournament for men's Division I basketball expand, as well as what's going on with Clemson and the ACC in this continued back and forth of universities looking to potentially leave, universities and colleges looking to potentially leave the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference. And then we spoke about Mystic Dan winning the Kentucky Derby and some thoughts on the NFL as well. So you can find that on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So from inside of the Heritage Hill Studios this morning with ModPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', letting us know what's coming up for the day. NFL talk will carry us through this first hour. Then we'll jump into hour number 2, which has 2 incredible specials of the Bearcat Breakroom. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. is Bearcat time, and so you see the big B for the Binghamton Bearcats, and that's B also representing the 4 student athletes we're going to have on from the champion women's lacrosse team. Very excited. First time they've been co-champions ever in the regular season inside of the America East for Binghamton University women's lacrosse. They did that. First time they've become America East outright champions, winning the America East tournament. They just did that. And in order to do that, they had to defeat Albany, who they've never defeated before. And that defeat of Albany is another historic mark as a first in program history, as they will head to the NCAA tournament this Friday, May 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, going up against the Yale Bulldogs in Connecticut. So, Binghamton University Bearcat Breakroom, we're going to have 5 guests today. One of our specials will feature 4 student athletes from the Binghamton Bearcats women's lacrosse team, that being Mia Forte. Carla Curth will rejoin the show. Zoe Congdon will be on the show as well, and we will also be joined by Hayley Weltner in that first special airing at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Then at 10:35 a.m. Eastern Time, you will see my special with head coach of the Binghamton University Bearcats women's lacrosse team, and that is Stephanie Allen. She'll be joining me at 10:35. We'll be showcasing that special that we have here ready to go for you, and then we'll jump into the ingredients to success a little bit after 10:50, probably closer to 11 a.m., as we'll have the show go a little bit longer today to bring you the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. It is right down the street from Liverpool High School, and it's where we have our Liverpool Warriors spotlight broadcasts every single month. This week we have 2 broadcasts coming to you from Avicolli's. On Wednesday, we're going to be featuring, this Wednesday, May 8th at 6 p.m., we'll be featuring Liverpool Boys Lacrosse, and head coach Mike Felice and his team will be joining me on site on location at Avicolli's this Wednesday, May 8th at 6 p.m. and on Thursday, May 9th at 6 p.m. at Avicolli's. For the first time ever, we will be spotlighting, in their first season ever, the Liverpool Warriors girls flag football team. Very excited about that, and having Coach Will and the student athletes with us. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, and a lot of great things coming up this week in the community. So with that being said, let's discuss the NFL and kind of where things are at right now. And I'm going to go in alphabetical order. I'm just going to go down the line here, starting with alphabetical order by the home. So we're going to start with Arizona, and we'll make our way all the way to Washington and let you know what's going on here. So in the world of Arizona, just to let you know, to kind of catch you up on the moves that have been made, the things that have happened. Papa Joe did this with baseball, and he let you know, like, who made the, what moves were made, who's on a new team, who's injured, who's this, who's that, so that you could get a full look at what was coming up this season. Obviously, some of these things might change. Some of these guys might move on to another team, and there might be, some guys that make teams, some guys that don't. But as of right now, praying and hoping the best as always for everybody, the Arizona Cardinals brought in Desmond Ridder as an insurance policy. Kind of an interesting situation here in Arizona personally for me, because I covered Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati and I covered Clayton Tune at Houston, and they're both backing up Kyler Murray. I also covered James Conner, who is their lead running back. They brought in Michael Carter from the New York Jets here in recent history, and Trey Benson. They drafted Trey Benson here to come on to this team. So Trey Benson is now going to be a part of this roster as well, coming through the draft here, coming from the Florida State Seminoles. So Trey Benson joining the team, that gives some help in the backfield. Arizona's backfield now, I like James Conner, and people know I'm a big fan of James Conner, and I think there's a lot of good things that Conner can do. I think, he's an incredible talent. I mean, this man, I every time I think about him, I go back to the story of, that he had allegedly gone up to Pat Narduzzi, the head coach of the Pitt Panthers, and said to him, he goes, "Hey, coach, I got to go beat cancer and I'll be back." And then he went and beat cancer and he came back. And he's been through injuries, he's been through cancer, but he literally just said, "I'm going to go beat cancer and I'll be back on the field." And he did exactly that. I think James Conner is highly underrated. I think he was underrated as a Pittsburgh Steeler, so I hope he stays healthy so we could see what he could do. Trey Benson, he was at Oregon for his first couple seasons. His freshman season wasn't out there, and then with the COVID year because of the Pac-12 and what were they going to do and all that. And so we didn't see him out there freshman season. 10 games his other freshman season, as everybody that was in school as a student athlete in 2020 was given a bonus year. So he was given a second freshman season there, essentially. So he's a sophomore in school, but was a freshman on the field. We didn't see him out there that much. And then he transferred to Florida State. And at Florida State, He spent 2 seasons, 13 games each of those seasons, 154 attempts in 2022, 156 in 2023, and he had 990 yards in 2022, 906 yards in 2023, averaged 6.4 yards a carry, then 5.8, 9 rushing touchdowns, then 14. Also caught the ball a few times here, 13 catches for over 140 yards and 20, most recently for over 220 yards, and has a receiving touchdown this past season. So numbers looking good, almost 1,000-yard back both of those seasons at Florida State, almost 6 yards a carry or more than 6 yards a carry both seasons, and right around having double-digit rushing touchdowns, having 9 and then having 14. So Trey Benson provides some help here in the backfield for James Conner, so I like that. Marvin Harrison Jr., who they drafted at 4 overall. Michael Wilson, who looked like he was a steal coming out as a rookie last year. There's, over the years, there's no Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, who I thought was going to be the heir apparent. He's not there. So now it's to the young guns, right? Greg Dortch, Chris Moore, Zach Pascal, these other guys trying to make the team here with Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Trey McBride, who they brought in within the last couple of years here. So, to me, offensively for Arizona, kind of taking a look around the league and some of the changes that have been made and things that have happened here. McBride goes into his 3rd season. So, with the changes, with Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in, Trey Benson coming onto the team, and then Desmond Ridder and Clayton Tune being there to back up Kyler Murray, Desmond coming over from the Atlanta Falcons just recently after being drafted by the Falcons. I think that this is, they built some depth here. I think Arizona's done some good things. I think Arizona, they have no excuses as far as having some firepower out there. So they should be able to get some things done. And I do like the addition. I mean, I feel bad for Ridder because I if Kyler Murray, and you always hope somebody stays healthy. I don't know how often we're going to see Desmond Ridder, if we're going to see Desmond Ridder at all. But maybe this is an opportunity for him to learn and showcase himself and then get a job somewhere else. If somebody has someone go down with an injury or something happens, maybe that's the whole plan here. So we shall see, but excited to see Trey Benson out there as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. and how that works with Michael Wilson. And for those of you just tuning in, we're going in alphabetical order around the NFL to let you know who is coming onto these teams, what changes have been made, to give you some updates here on the NFL. So, of course, the Atlanta Falcons brought in Kirk Cousins, and he's questionable if he's going to be able to start in training camp. And maybe here's the thing, and I'm not going to rehash everything because we've talked about it at length here on the show, but Kirk Cousins, 4 years, $180 million, $100 million of that guaranteed. He comes in. We don't know if he's going to be ready to go for the start of training camp. They draft Michael Penix Jr. Do they draft him to start off training camp? I mean, what is the, could you have just had Taylor Heineke kind of take over the reins since he's been on the team? But it's just a very interesting situation here for the Atlanta Falcons and what they're going to do at quarterback. Why would you pay a guy so much money and then draft a guy so high? When you draft somebody in the top 10, your thought is that that guy's probably going to pay, right? Or play, I should say. You got to pay him, but that he's going to be out there and he's going to play. You drafted somebody 8th overall and drafted him above Bo Nix and drafted him above J.J. McCarthy. So a little bit of an interesting pick there by the Atlanta Falcons, and now we're going to see exactly how this thing is going to shake out and how do they intend to use who they have. And, is this a situation that's going to work for everybody? If I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm kind of scratching my head. If I'm Michael Penix, I'm thinking like, oh, maybe they don't have everything that they think that they need right now, and maybe that's why they brought me in. So that's definitely a new addition. That's a little bit of a head scratcher. Darnell Mooney coming into this team to help out Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I just hope that this coaching staff actually uses Kyle Pitts, because if they don't, then I think that they need to move on from him and let him just go out there and be able to enjoy being a weapon somewhere else. Going around the league looking at these offensive additions to the teams and what can happen here. The Baltimore Ravens have Devin Leary and Malik Cunningham. I covered both of these gentlemen in college. Covered Devin Leary when he was at NC State, Malik Cunningham when he was at Louisville. Both of them are backing up Lamar Jackson with Josh Johnson. So that will be interesting. Obviously, Lamar is supposed to be the guy, but again, maybe these guys could showcase themselves and get some positive publicity, and coaches can talk and they can find themselves a true backup job somewhere else, or maybe one of them can become the number 2 in Baltimore. But obviously, you hope everyone stays healthy. The backfield for the Baltimore Ravens has changed. Derrick Henry is in town, which I think is a steal. I think this offense could be extremely prolific with Lamar Jackson healthy, Zay Flowers running around, and having a guy like Derrick Henry doing his thing here. And then, Keaton Mitchell, who we saw a little bit of last year, he's got to stay healthy. Justice Hill's got to stay healthy. But Derrick Henry coming into town can be, a big help to this team and a boost for this team. Still have to see a wide receiver step up, and I think they have arguably, with the Buffalo Bills, the best 1-2 punch at tight end. They have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, and I think Likely I know from watching him, he can fill in pretty darn well when he needs to, and Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews. So, taking a look around the NFL in alphabetical order by city or by name, in the case of Arizona, the state name, but going through here in alphabetical order, talking about new additions on the offensive side of the ball and what that could mean for each team. Josh Allen is looking to have some weapons here. He has Khalil Shakir coming back from last year. They bring in Curtis Samuel. They just brought in Chase Claypool, and they drafted Keon Coleman out of FSU. Bunch of question marks here. Curtis Samuel has been a journeyman. Chase Claypool has been a journeyman. Shakir stepped it up and did some good things last year as a new face and a non-household name in the NFL. And so now Keon Coleman and the gang are going to have to show what they could do here. Khalil Shakir coming out of Boise State and doing some good things on this Buffalo Bills team. And like I said, making a name for himself in last season's playoffs. They got Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox back. This 1-2 punch, like I said, with the Baltimore Ravens, arguably the best tight end 1-2 punch. Some teams don't have a dominant tight end, one guy that I would draft in fantasy football. The Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens have 2. So, Kincaid and Knox doing a good job here. But this is going to be a wide receiver room that we're really going to be watching closely in training camp and through the preseason and see how they look. The Carolina Panthers, as far as what they've brought in, Jonathan Brooks coming onto the team, and Chuba Hubbard is still on the team. Miles Sanders is still on the team. Jonathan Brooks coming on to this team as a rookie, and Brooks, when we take a look at the running back out of Hallettsville, Texas, of where he calls his home, Jonathan Brooks, as far as his numbers collegiately, looking at his college statistics, coming out of Texas, Jonathan Brooks here, taking a look at what he's done while he was in the Big 12 and at Texas. 3 seasons there, and he played in 4 games his first season, then 7, 11 this past season of 2023. 187 attempts, 1,139 yards, 6.1 yards a carry, 10 touchdowns. He had 6 yards a carry at least in all 3 of his seasons, even when he had limited attempts. He had 21 attempts in 2021, 6.8 yards a carry. He had 30 attempts in 2022, 6.6. And when he went from 21, 30 to 187 attempts, he was still over that. And I always check that. I always look at when you give somebody more time on the field, when you give somebody more opportunity on the field, do their numbers go down? What do their numbers look like on the field, on the court, in the pool, on the track, wherever it may be? When I'm looking at numbers, I'm saying, okay, well, this guy had 100 carries and he averaged 5.5 yards a carry. When you gave him 200 carries, when you multiplied it by 2 and gave him double the workload, is he at 5 something? Is he down to 4? And these guys that just, the more you give them, the more they do with it. I mean, looking at this, yeah, it's a little bit below 6.8 and 6.6, but to average 6.1 yards a carry on almost 200 attempts and to have over 1,100 yards that season when they boosted him from the season before by 157 more attempts. That says something about Jonathan Brooks. So I'm hoping that'll help their backfield. As you know, Miles Sanders, who started his career, came out of Penn State and then went on to was behind Saquon Barkley. And now the irony is Miles Sanders was behind Saquon at Penn State. Now Saquon's at Philly, and Miles is no longer in Philadelphia. He's in Carolina. Went there last season. So that kind of thing where they were in the same backfield, and then they were both have both been Philadelphia Eagles, as Saquon will be this year. Jonathan Brooks could take over. Chuba Hubbard, I think he was a good accent to Christian McCaffrey, who's not there anymore after last season. So Raheem Blackshear covered him in college. Mike Boone covered him in college. Tariq Cohen, who made some hay with the Chicago Bears back in the day, he's still here. He's trying to catch on here on this team. I think this could be Jonathan Brooks' team. Deontay Johnson came in. They drafted Xavier Legette. And Terrence Marshall Jr., still waiting to see what he's going to be. Carolina drafting a lot of young wide receivers, doing it with Legette this year in the last pick of the first round, 32 overall. Jonathan Mingo, Terrence Marshall Jr., these are all young guys. These are, Terrence drafted within the last couple of years. Jonathan Mingo drafted last year. Xavier Legette drafted this year. Something's got to catch on. Ultimately, this offensive line has to block for Bryce Young, and Bryce Young's got to hopefully he'll be more comfortable and have himself a prolific season in the NFL so that this team can move the ball and not be the worst team in the NFL for the second year in a row here. Tommy Tremble, the older brother of Jamie Tremble, continues to be the tight end in Carolina, and Jamie Tremble, coming to the Syracuse Orange End, has been on wake-up call, and I appreciate his time as always. The Chicago Bears offensive additions, of course, number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, on the team here. We're going to see what Caleb Williams can do as we bring you Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside the Heritage Hill Studios, and going around the NFL in hour number 1 here, letting you know what's going on in the NFL as far as the additions offensively. And we're going in alphabetical order from Arizona to Washington. Caleb Williams, this is obviously the biggest addition here to the offense. It's their signal caller. What is he going to be? I saw him live. He is an incredible talent. I mean, you hear things off the air, you hear this, you hear that. You don't know what's true. Off the field, I should say. You don't know what's true and you don't know what's not true. And so ultimately, I'm going to be paying a close eye in this Caleb Williams situation, as I know a lot of people will be, to really try to understand what's going on with this and how this is going to break down ultimately for the team. Is it going to be a great move, or is it going to be a little head scratcher of a move? People know I'm most excited about Jaden Daniels as far as an immediate positive impact on the team. That's my gut feeling at the moment. And, things can change as time goes by, but Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, actually, very excited to see what Bo can do in Denver. Caleb Williams is a question mark for me. And, they're all question marks, but I feel a little bit better about some of these other guys than Caleb Williams right now. But I hope it works out. I hope there's positivity. I hope none of this, kind of head case dramatic stuff that some people have talked about holds any weight, and that this can be a good move for the Chicago Bears and a good move for Caleb, and that there's not going to be any drama and some positivity here, as Chicago has really not sniff the playoffs, and when they do sniff the playoffs, they don't hang around that long. DeAndre Swift, coming onto the team, was a former Lion, and when healthy was really, really good. And then he went off to Philly for a season, and now he's a Chicago Bear. I'm happy they brought in some running back help. Rashawn Johnson, they drafted last year. Khalil Herbert, I covered at Virginia. Travis Homer, I covered him as well at Miami. They're both on this team, and seeing what they can do to make the team. Keenan Allen is on the team from the offseason. Rome Odunze was drafted 3rd overall, and so they joined DJ Moore, who was a part of that move that also, with that between Carolina and the Chicago Bears, the move that they made to kind of bring all of this together so Carolina could have the number 1 pick this past season and draft Bryce Young. So, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, any one of these guys could step it up here. Keenan Allen, I would say, between him and DJ Moore, would take over the 1. Maybe Rome takes the 2. I'd like to see DJ actually work out on a team here And Rome Odunze, we'll see. If he catches on quick, this could be something really big. This was my original plan for the Chicago Bears. If they didn't, I shouldn't say that. This was my, if they got rid of Justin Fields, this was my original plan. If they kept Justin Fields, I had a plan for that. It was Derrick Henry and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. If they didn't do that, then my first plan of the Caleb Williams era was to draft Rome Odunze at number 9 overall, which they did. And Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, guys that have been in the game for a minute here. And Cole Kmet, I think he's a serviceable guy. Let's see how Caleb Williams uses him going around the NFL in the offensive additions to each team. Looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, Zach Moss being a part of this team with Joe Mixon, now a Houston Texan. We'll see what Zach Moss can do. I like Zach Moss in Buffalo. I thought he would do more. It really just never worked out. And Chase Brown, who was drafted last year, there's still a question mark here of how they're going to use their backs in Cincinnati. Typically, they use more than one. What will this look like? And then T. Higgins. Is T. Higgins going to be on this team? Is he going to be on this team in training camp? Is he going to be on this team in the preseason? Is he going to be on the team in 2024-25? We shall see. They drafted Jermaine Burton. They gave another weapon to Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase. Mike Gesicki comes in at tight end. And, we can see what they've kind of been cycling through tight ends after having a couple different guys. They had Tyler Eifert for a little while and Tyler Croft. And when the Tylers went away, now the Mike Gesicki world is here. So we'll see how that catches on, if that catches on for the Cincinnati Bengals. But the big question mark of their future is T. Higgins. And is T. Higgins going to be there? You know what I mean? Is this contract going to all work out? Are things going to be all right here? Now, we shall see as things go forward. But this was not everybody likes the franchise tag. It's a lot of money up front. But it doesn't give you job security. And if you get injured, then, it could affect the rest of your career. So they got to work out something with Higgins. And the thing with Higgins is I'm not wowed by Higgins. I'm more wowed by Jamar Chase, but I'm not wowed by Higgins. So I feel like with Higgins, let's make a deal. Let's keep you on. I think you're talented, but I'm not going to give you crazy money. I want to be kind of modest with this and say, okay, maybe I incentivize him. Right? Maybe I build it up. Maybe I give you less up front and then we build it over time. Kind of see what you could do here because, T. Higgins, he's done some good things. And at the same time, I kind of sit with the T. Higgins scenario and I say to myself, is this a guy that, we look at how much time he spent, 4 seasons in the NFL. Now, he's a 1,000-yard receiver in 2021 and in 2022, 74 receptions in both of those seasons. Last season, 42 receptions, 656 yards. But, ultimately, I think, his first season, he was almost 1,000 yards, then 1,000, then another 1,000. I think and this is the thing, when I look at these numbers, I think of T. Higgins and I think game by game, does he wow me in fantasy football game by game? But then you look at his overall numbers, and then I sit here and I say to myself, I should have brought this up before I opened my mouth. And ultimately, he does have good numbers. I don't feel like it's as always wow from game to game. But I do think that, there's obviously some good here with T. Higgins. That's why I said that Buffalo should look at trying to pick him up, but we shall see. I think working that deal out would be good for them. You got a 1,000-yard receiver. You got Jamar Chase. If the whole team stays healthy on paper, Cincinnati should be able to at least combat Kansas City, who seems to be the darling for the Super Bowl once again. Looking at Cleveland brought in famous Jameis Winston to back up Deshaun Watson. These two guys both played in the ACC. And they've both gotten in trouble off the field. Jameis Winston at FSU, Deshaun Watson at Clemson. Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb are back in the backfield here. Jerry Jeudy is with the Cleveland Browns now, as the Denver Broncos had a fire sale, just getting rid of everything. Not too much offensive change here at weapon for the Cleveland Browns. They got the, like I said, same backfield, trying to figure out who their main receivers are going to be. Can Cooper and or Jeudy be? Can Cooper be the one, Jeudy be the two, or vice versa? Can Elijah Moore be the three? That's still a question mark going into this season. But the Cleveland Browns, of all the teams we've talked about up to this point, taking a look around the NFL and letting you know offensive moves so that you can have the information that you need to know who's going to be in training camp here for these teams, as there's been a lot of shakeup in the NFL. Cleveland stayed pretty consistent offensively with the shakeup. As far as Dallas goes, they didn't draft a quarterback. I thought maybe they would. They had Zeke Elliott. Then I told you Tony Pollard was going to take over for him. Tony Pollard did take over for him. Now there's no Tony Pollard on the team, and Zeke is back. This is a head-scratching move. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Snoop Connor is there. My two teams, Jaguars, are my top, off the air. Jaguars, my favorite team. And what I mean by off the air is impartial as a broadcaster. I don't sit here and say Jacksonville's going to win every single game, because I don't think that would be me doing my job unless I really believe that and can back it up. I don't feel like I think it's a cardinal sin to be a homer. So Jacksonville, in the comfort of my own home, my favorite team. Second favorite team is Dallas. And Snoop Connor, this happens a lot with Dallas and Jacksonville. The guys go back and forth. So Snoop Connor is now on the Cowboys. He was drafted by the Jaguars last year, and I actually have his autograph here in my studio, thanks to, I think it was Curtis that gave me the autograph. So shout out to GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night and all the awesome people there that always have something for me out of the goodness of their heart, and I try to pay it forward right back to them. So Zeke Elliott is back. Deuce Vaughn is there. Royce Freeman. I mean, this is a bunch of guys that didn't work out in other places, right? Zeke is back. Royce is there. Snoop Connor. So we'll see. I'm not wowed by the Cowboys backfield. I thought that the Cowboys were done seeing half-shirt guys at camp, but, apparently, Tracy Morgan in the longest yard, that's what I think about when I see a half-shirt with a Zeke Elliott. But here we go, one more time. The Dallas Cowboys, they drafted Luke Schoonmaker last year. We'll see what this looks like. They have long names for their tight ends. They have Luke Schoonmaker and they have Peyton Hendershot. And so some cool names out there, though. And as far as wide receiver goes, this is who's going to make the team. Jalen Tolbert, Cavante Turpin, Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flournoy, Racey McMath, Martavis Bryant is still out there. He used to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Jalen Moreno Cropper, Tyron Johnson, David Durden. It's a big old list of names of guys behind CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks to see what Dallas could do. They stayed pretty consistent outside of bringing back Zeke. So we'll see what that looks like, and if this Zeke thing actually works out, or if they make another move for a running back before the season starts, which I think, no offense to Zeke, I think they should make another move at a running back. I really do. I don't think this is enough. Taking a look around the NFL, the Denver Broncos, they obviously made some changes. Since they had Peyton Manning and then Tim Tebow, this team hasn't had a quarterback that they can lead on to help them to the postseason. Bo Nix, they're hoping he's going to be the guy. I like this Bo Nix pickup here. Zach Wilson from the Jets, he's on the team, as well as Jarrett Stidham, who could have been the guy in New England and I was a little surprised because I thought maybe this could be Bill Belichick's guy. But Bo Nix is the guy here, and Audric Esteem from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who I covered with my coverage of Notre Dame. Esteem is now on the team, drafted in this year's draft of 2024 to back up Javonte Williams and maybe Samaje Perrin. We'll see how that all works out, but Esteem could create some awesome moments here for Bo Nix and the crew. I think it could open up the offense here and open up the backfield. Cortland Sutton's playing this season without Jerry Jeudy. Marvin Mims, who they drafted last year, can he step it up? And Troy Franklin, they bring him in. So Bo Nix was in Oregon with Troy Franklin. Now Bo Nix is in the NFL with Troy Franklin, and we'll see if that 1-2 punch, like the Jamar Chase situation with Joe Burrow, if that can kind of ease your first couple of years in the NFL and have that guy with you, like Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville with Travis Etienne Jr. Looking at the Detroit Lions and what they brought in, Detroit, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs worked out last year, so that's the same. Jamison Williams, healthy and hopefully stays out of trouble and actually starts this season. The 2 years he's been in the NFL, between injury and suspension, he has not started a season. God willing, he can start this season and things can go well for him. And Traquan Smith is there. Traquan Smith I covered at UCF, and I had a really awesome RPA card of his as well. So he's there now. We'll see what this looks like in the grand scheme of things. Detroit stayed consistent in the offseason as well, and why wouldn't they, as they were really close to going to the Super Bowl, and hopefully this year they can do that for my buddy Johnny Roberts and all those Detroit Lion fans out there. For the Green Bay Packers brought in Michael Pratt to back up Jordan Love. Last year they brought in Sean Clifford to back up Jordan Love. Michael Pratt, I think, is a steal out of Tulane. Head-to-head, the Tulane Green Wave defeated USC and the USC Trojans in the Cotton Bowl, not of this season, the season prior. I was down at that game. And so Michael Pratt and the crew took down Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, and his crew in that matchup in an instant classic. Josh Jacobs is in the building here. A.J. Dillon is back. Josh Jacobs is in front of him where Aaron Jones used to be. So the question mark is, can A.J. Dillon get some time? Is he going to be the backup to yet another guy? Is he going to be the 2 to yet another 1? So let's see what A.J. Dillon does, how he responds to this. What Josh Jacobs does here is I don't think he was truly given all the love that I think he should have had from the Raiders. They drafted Marshawn Lloyd out of USC, and so creating, and you would think that when it comes to, like, if Aaron Rodgers was still on the team, right? As a quarterback gets older, you get more guys in the backfield, and you don't have them throw as much, and you give them a running game that's really going to help sustain the offense. And in this case, since they've moved on from Aaron Rodgers, they're now sustaining the offense with a running game. Marshawn Lloyd was at South Carolina for 3 seasons before he came to USC. At USC, he played in 11 games, 116 carries, 820 yards, 7.1 yards a carry, 9 touchdowns. In South Carolina in the SEC, the season before, he had 9 games, 111 carries, and 573 yards, 5.2 yards a carry, and 9 touchdowns there as well. He's caught the ball out of the backfield at least 13 times in the last 2 seasons, 2 touchdowns at South Carolina. His first season on the field at South Carolina, 12 games, 64 attempts, 228 yards the first time around, and 1 touchdown. So he's gotten better. He's had at least 111 carries in each of the last 2 seasons. He went from 573 yards on 111 carries to 820 yards on just 5 more carries, 5.2 yards a carry to 7.1, 9 touchdowns each season. So that's a big jump. That's a huge jump to have over 200 more rushing yards on just 5 more carries. So that says something about Marshawn Lloyd. Let's see what he does in the NFL. That's a crowded backfield. Maybe one of these guys moves around. Maybe the Dallas Cowboys make a play for A.J. Dillon. I'm just putting it out there in the air. So as far as the wide receivers go and what that looks like, they've stayed pretty consistent, as well as what things look like here beyond that. So with that being said, taking a look at the NFL and the changes that have come in the offseason, going in alphabetical order, we started with Arizona, we went all the way to Green Bay, and now it's time for us to get ready for the Binghamton University Bearcats. So we're going to take a step aside. We have Bearcat time every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is what it is right now, and the Bearcats will be with us after this fast break inside of the Heritage Hill Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We are spotlighting Binghamton University women's lacrosse on a historic season, and we're going to start things off with the student athletes being joined by Mia Forte, as well as Carla Curth, Zoe Congdon, as well as Hayley Weltner, all coming up together on screen right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at greatlakeshondacity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome here to a very special edition of the Bearcat Breakroom inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Of course, Heritage Hill Brewhouse out in Pompey and Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York. We are here in this Bearcat Breakroom making history with Binghamton University. Part of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership is celebrating the student athletes, coaches, and administration of Binghamton University. And for the first time ever, I get to say a few things. Co-regular season champs in the America East, never happened before, and America East overall champions after winning the championship 12-11 over UAlbany in the program's first win over UAlbany. So success on top of success on top of success. We're here with the champions today of Binghamton Bearcats women's lacrosse who are heading to the NCAA tournament. How are all of you doing?
Good.
So I'm going to have us go around here and have you all introduce yourselves. We'll go from left to right on the screen here, and then we'll get into what happened over this past couple days and celebrate that. So go ahead when ready.
Oh.
Yep, whenever you're ready.
Sorry. There we go. I'm Mia Forte.
I'm Carla Curth.
I'm Zoe Congdon.
I'm Hayley Weltner.
And for all of you here in celebrating this moment and this extremely incredible point in not only Binghamton women's lacrosse history, but Binghamton history overall. And I'll start whichever side wants to start, and we'll go down the line here. Bring me into let's go back to the regular season championship, co-champions with UAlbany. I was there on site for the game. You got to have that victory come at home as you finished off the regular season. Just what each of you took away from that individually, whoever would like to start.
Yeah, sure. It's an amazing opportunity to just play with your best friends, and I think that it definitely showed that day and throughout the whole season. Our team chemistry is like no other, and I think we showed everyone that it definitely helps you progress as a team moving forward.
Yeah, this season has definitely been like a roller coaster for all of us. Each game was a battle in its own way. So having that last game be a must-win game to make history. It definitely was its own struggle, but once we got rolling, we just kept going, and it was a really fun game for all of us, I think. And it was a fun game to have all of our parents there, and it was really just great to do this with some of the best people ever.
Yeah, it was really fun to be able to like come out at the end with such a big win over Bryant and secure like the regular season champions, co with Albany. And I think like that momentum kind of pushed us into the tournament with a lot of like extra energy, and knowing that we are the co-season champions was a really nice feeling.
Being my first year on the team, like, I think knowing that all the girls really wanted to like push boundaries and make history, and I think that being able to contribute was just overall like so amazing, and I love these girls so much, so I wanted to put all my effort in for them too.
And I'll stay with you, and we'll go back down the other way here. So to go into the postseason after defeating Bryant, and you didn't just defeat Bryant at home, it was a very strong offensive outing, as well as the fact of your goalkeeper just taking care of business inside there of the pipes. So then we look to UMBC and that victory 13-8 against the 3-seeded UMBC. And then just recently here, UAlbany, the number 1 seed that you defeated 12-11. Go back down the line on just what you took away from not only the UAlbany game, but the UMBC game, and how well this team is playing. Because speaking with your head coach, Stephanie Allen, I asked her about where the team was at right now, and she felt like this team was getting better the deeper that you got into the season, but she still didn't feel like she's seen everything that you can offer. So has more come out of this team in these last couple games, and do you feel like you are a force to be reckoned with heading into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think that once we got the momentum of winning those, I think it was the last like 7 games we were on a win streak. I think just getting like the ball rolling on offense and then making incredible saves and cause turnovers on defense, I think putting it all together throughout these games made a really big impact in our last 2 games against UMBC and Albany.
I definitely think that everyone holds each other accountable on the field. If something is going wrong on defense, the offense can make up for it, and vice versa. And so knowing that we're kind of able to be resilient on the field all over the place is really a nice feeling. And I think this momentum we get from beating UMBC and now beating Albany is just really great to head into the NCAAs with this 2 great wins over these good teams.
Yeah, I definitely think these last 2 games showed how resilient the team is and how strong we are because of the comebacks that we had to make. Starting off a little bit rocky, and each game was kind of scary, especially from a defensive point. But we never gave up, and we kept fighting, and we kept supporting each other throughout the whole thing, which is something that like is unbeatable in my eyes.
Yeah, I think something that like our team does is we take it game by game. So every game we just focus on the present, and we know like in that moment we have each other's backs, and I know I can count on any of them, the defense, the offense, the circle crew. I know we're all just like there that game, like everybody's bought in 100%, and definitely helps us just moving forward and being the best team that we can be.
Yeah, and you speak about moving forward. This team started off the season on a 2-game losing streak. They won 4 in a row, went on a 4-game losing streak, and since that 4-game losing streak that started off with an overtime loss, an 8-game winning streak in response. I mean, we know that there's ebb and flow to the season, but I'm sure that you learned a lot in those first few games and kind of what you took through of that 2-game losing streak to bounce back, and then a 4-game losing streak to do what you've done with now 8 in a row, including co-champions in the regular season and outright champions after the America East tournament. So what has the season, and anybody can feel free to take this one, just what the season has been like for you and what you learned from some of those losing streaks that's created so much success later on?
I can start. I think that every game that we've had, conference, non-conference, even in the fall, every game has made us stronger. I think we've just really worked hard at practice. Our work ethic has like shown tremendously at the end of the season because of how we started at the beginning, and every single day, I think throughout practice, like we were trying to be the best versions of ourselves. So we never settled for being comfortable. We always like wanted to go that next level and just like show everybody that, you know, we could be better because we're the underdogs usually most of the time. So it was great to just like show everybody that, you know, like we've worked so hard to, you know, be here and we deserve this.
Yeah, going off of that, I definitely think that coming back from a 4-loss streak is really rough, but we definitely had to figure out a few things on the field, and with how deep our bench is and how good everyone is, I wasn't worried about it. We could mix up the defense crew and it would be perfectly fine, and you can throw people in on offense and get some new looks in there, and we figured it out along the way, and that's kind of what we've been doing the whole season is just taking little notes and trying to figure out how to make each other better the whole time.
Just having so much confidence in this team, knowing that we had like gone on that losing streak, it kind of was what we needed to readjust ourselves and figure out what we needed to change. And after those changes were made, we really just obviously we came out on top and being able to show that we're able to bounce back and we're able to make changes quickly on the field and kind of be the better team at the end is a really nice feeling.
There's definitely a lot of resilience on this team. So when we had those losing streaks and when we lost some of our best players, I think a lot of people filled those roles. And also in practice, like we're very competitive and everybody just is pushing each other and showing each other love when we do good things and like help critique things that we're not doing so well. So like we can all put it together on the field.
You're all kind of mellow, relaxed right now, but that feeling over the weekend, I'm sure, was absolutely incredible. And a picture can maybe have 1,000 words, but it doesn't adequately state what it feels like to be in that moment. So, Mia, I'm going to stay with you and just to bring me into being on the field and knowing that you're champions, you did it. It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't this team lost and then this happened to help you out. You won the outright championship, and on top of all of that, you made history beating a team in Albany that's been able to have a lot of success over the years. So I want to go back down the line again, but just bring me into that moment on the field, the emotions, the thoughts, and knowing that this is not only a wonderful thing for this season, but it's history for Binghamton University.
I mean, it was just so surreal on the field and just like knowing that I did this all with my best friends, and I just wanted to put all my effort in the game, like for them, like the seniors, they've been there before, and the juniors, like all the people who were there exactly with Albany last year too, and they lost by 1. I think just coming onto the team and knowing that the American East Championship is where we wanted to be at the end of the season, and actually winning it was just amazing.
Yeah, I keep saying, like, I'm just so excited over and over again. I can't believe it's real because I honestly still can't. Like, it's just such an exciting feeling to win a championship no matter where you're playing. And being here with my best friends, being able to win a championship just makes it, like, 1,000 times better. And being on the field and seeing the clock wind down and knowing that we had won was just, like, so exciting. There's really no words to describe it.
Yeah, those final seconds were stressful, to say the least, but rewarding. I didn't even believe it. Like being here for 4 years and being so close multiple times before, I didn't know what to feel. I just saw everyone running at us and I started crying out of happiness. Like it was one of the most exciting things and extremely rewarding for the season we've had.
It was definitely really emotional for me. Just, you know, like the past 4 years, like we've consistently talked about getting to this point, getting to the championship game and winning, and for it to actually happen with like all of our best friends, it was truly amazing. I literally wouldn't have it any other way, and like for a senior year, like to go out this way, like it's like an amazing feeling.
Yeah, you know, and to have this Bearcat Breakroom once again inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, spotlighting the Binghamton University women's lacrosse team as they are co-champions in the regular season, outright champions in the America East, and heading to the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of excitement over these last couple days, of course, And to go back down the line here, looking at this excitement and everything that you have, there's still more work to be done. And we know that the NCAA tournament is coming up here. So as much as your emotions have kind of probably been a roller coaster over these last couple days, and obviously you feel good moving forward with an 8-game winning streak and a 12-6 overall record. Yale is up next. It's this Friday, May 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time in New Haven, Connecticut, the number 6 seeded Yale University. So to go back down the line, just what you could say about staying focused and staying poised and understanding that of all the success that you've had, there's the opportunity for more.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, we've always been the underdogs, so going into this game is no different. I think that we can definitely shock a lot of people. Just I think they don't really expect like what's to come of us, and we're 100% bought in all the time. Like we're in the recovery room today, like we're getting ready, and I'm just like excited to see what's to come.
Yeah, definitely coming off this weekend, I think we're more hungry than ever. Like, this is something great that we have an opportunity to do, and we're going to take that in stride. And I think that we're just really going to focus on being ourselves and continuing to play the way that we played this whole season, which has gotten us this far, and I think it'll get us even farther.
Yeah, knowing that we still, I don't think, have strung a full, like, perfect 60-minute game together, knowing that we still have time to work on it and be able to accomplish that goal and have another chance to play this weekend with all of my friends is really exciting. So knowing that we get to go to Yale and we get to play them, I think we can do a really good job, and I'm really happy for everyone and happy for us to be able to go there and experience this for the first time.
Yeah, staying focused during practice and like definitely taking recovery as a main important thing to do. I think that this game will be a good one, and that we're definitely, like Zoe said, we're still hungry and we're still wanting to achieve more than we could think.
And before we jump into rapid fire with the opportunity to put each other on the hot seat, have some fun. You guys get to put me on the hot seat as well. I want to do Tell Me Something Good. And so Tell Me Something Good gives you an opportunity to pick one of your teammates and say something good about them. Zoe, I'm going to start with you here. Which teammate do you want to ask the question to, and what's your question?
I'm going to go with Mia. What has it been like coming in as a freshman and playing every single game with us, and like how have you felt like being in that big role?
Honestly, it was really nerve-wracking at first, just coming from high school and definitely like adjusting in fall ball and just having to play against these girls that are older than me and like some definitely like fifth years, just like kind of getting out of that mindset of like how much older these girls are, and just like placing myself and putting full confidence in myself that I deserve to be here, and I'm just doing it all for you guys. Like, I'm putting all my effort in.
All right, Mia, you get to pick someone and ask them a question. Or tell me something good, I should say.
Tell you something good.
So tell me something good about one of your teammates. So pick not Zoe, but somebody else, and tell me something good about them.
Hayley is one of the funniest, and she is so kind. She's definitely the person who brings the laughter and the smiles to practice. She's so sweet. She was definitely one of the people I like lean on and go to whenever like something's wrong, or I just need like a good joke or something, like, or a hug. Definitely hugs. She loves hugs.
So I'm going to go back to Zoe here because I said we weren't going to put each other on the hot seat yet. We were going to do Tell Me Something Good, and I mixed it up here. So Zoe, tell me something good about Mia before we go forward.
Well, Mia is one of the strongest people I know. Sorry, I didn't realize you weren't doing hot seat yet.
No, that was my fault, so go ahead.
But being in that position that she was given, she grabbed that and ran with it, and we really needed her on defense. Being in an up high spot on the 8 meter is not easy, especially when you have Ava running full speed at you. Like, it's not an easy thing, and I just really admire that for her.
Hayley, you now can pick one of your teammates here and tell us something good about them.
Okay, Carla. I think you really stepped up this year, especially like after we lost like a lot of our girls on the offensive end last year, and like obviously you're a rookie team, but but seriously, I think it's really hard to be a feeder in this like level of competition that we have, especially like in a game like yesterday. Like it's crazy to see like your dodges, your rollbacks. Like I don't think I could ever do that. My body doesn't move like that, but it's really just amazing to see how you stepped up and like how you lift up everybody else like around you on the offensive unit, like as a sophomore. And like I feel like we have like such an older team right now, a lot of like seniors on the team, but like your presence is like so noticeable. Like you're always there to like pick us up, and love that about you.
And so, Carla, you have the opportunity to tell me something good about Zoe.
Oh, there's a lot of good things I could say about Zoe. She is honestly one of the nicest people I've ever met, and she's such a competitor, like on the field and even in practice. Like she always puts up a good fight, which I love because it makes me better every single day because I get to play against her a lot, which is really nice. But she's always looking for feedback and giving feedback and is always asking like what she can do to make herself better, make you better. So being able to play against someone who's so noticeable of like everyone else on the field and like knowing what she can do to make everyone else better is like that's like the definition of a great teammate. So I'm so happy to have been able to play with her these last 2 years.
Well, I mean, for you all to not know what each person was going to say about the other, it definitely shows where the success I think is coming with this team is the fact that this isn't just a bunch of individuals that are talented, but it is an actual team of people that care about each other and don't necessarily care who makes the play, who scores the goal, but ultimately the fact that you win together, which has been seen on the field and now it's being seen and discussed off the field. Now we get to play rapid fire. You all get to put me on the hot seat, and I get to put you guys back on the hot seat as well. It can be about anything: sports, music, movies, TV, food, vacation, anything in the world. Mia, you get to ask me the first question. What do you got?
Um, let's see. What's your favorite type of food? Like Italian, Mexican, like those genres?
Well, I'm Italian and Hispanic, so you picked, those are both correct answers that you just gave. But now I would say my favorite food, it'd probably have to be like, probably something seafood related. I make my own like homemade shrimp scampi with angel hair, so I'd probably have to say something in that because it's like a healthier thing to do and to have like fish and a little bit of pasta. I don't put any like butter or oil in it. It's just water based and seasoning. So I would say on the healthier side, shrimp scampi, homemade. I guess I would pick.
That's a
Great.
good choice.
Thank you. All right, Mia, I got one for you. If you, we're going to stick with food here. If your teammates described you as a dessert, like that was your personality, what do you think they would say?
My personality. Well, I feel like a lot of people know that I am obsessed with ice cream. I have it every single night. But if someone's gonna describe me as something, that's such a like I didn't even.
It's like a personality thing. So if you were an ice cream sundae, what would be the personality in this? Is it like gummy bears? Is it peanuts? Is it hot fudge? Is it, is there something crazy on it? Is it simple? How do you think they would describe your personality?
I think it would probably just be like sprinkles, like nothing too crazy, but definitely just a simpler option.
All right, so sprinkles, a little bit of personality, bunch of different colors to the personality, so to speak. All right, Carla, what's your question for me?
Um, what's the best vacation you've ever been on?
That's a good question. I would say the best one I've ever been on. I think I would pick, there's some places I want to go to definitely. But I would say, I mean, I finally got to take a cruise. So I did a cruise, not this January, but the January before. And I have awesome parents. My mom, for my birthday a couple of years ago, got me, I'm a Disney kid. So she got me a Disney cruise. And I got to go to the Bahamas and we also went to Mexico. So I'd probably pick that because I got to swim with a dolphin and got to have the dolphin like take me around the pool and whatnot. And then we did different things with the dolphin coming up to you and giving you a kiss on the cheek. And then like you could like kind of wave with the dolphin and kind of like wave back and forth. So they're extremely smart. And they told everybody there was like 14, 15 of us. They said, all right, you're done. You can get out of the pool now. And I went to get out of the pool and one of the dolphins came over and they kind of like were coming over toward me, and one was right up against me and just wanted me to pet it and stay there. And so I always appreciate, they say if you're doing good things in life, nature responds positively, and if you're not doing good things, then they respond the other way. And when we were all done, the dolphin came over and just kind of was like with me in the water and just wanted to stay there. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
So, Carla, my question for you. All right, I'm going to stick with animals. If you changed into an animal for a day, what animal would you be and why?
I think, that's a good question.
The easy answer is Bearcat, but go ahead.
Um, I think I would want to be probably like a shark in the ocean. I think that'd be a cool one just to go around and be like the big dog in the water. Everyone's like scared of you. So I think I'd be a shark. And also like me and one of my best friends is like we're both obsessed with sharks and we like talk about them all the time. Like whenever there's like a shark attack or something, like, oh my God, the sharks like they're coming. So I think I'd be a shark just to see what it's like from their perspective.
Okay, fair enough. Now, do you watch Shark Week?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that. All right, Zoe, what do you got for me?
What's the best like hole in the wall restaurant, cafe, anything you've been to?
That's so good. I would have to say there's a lot of restaurants that I love, but I think the one that is like a staple for my hometown, I know it's a staple for Syracuse. And when you look at it from the outside, it looks really tiny. It looks like it could fit like maybe 10 people. And then you go in and there's like 40 people in there. They're busy all the time. And I actually, in a really awesome blessing, thank God for this, and I thank them for this too. Mother's Cupboard in Syracuse on 3709 James Street. There, I love breakfast any time of the day, and I have my own breakfast sandwich there. And when you drive by, you literally think like this is a small little tiny place, and you walk in and it's almost like it expands. So I would say that's the best hole in the wall place. Everything there is good. Their omelets are good. Their cheeseburgers. You know, my sandwich is bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast, which is like a spin on a breakfast sandwich. So I don't think you can go wrong with anything at Mother's Cupboard, and they're known for their I call them frittades, but Freddas. And if you eat a whole one, you get your picture up on the wall. And so they have like pictures of people all throughout the years that ate a whole one because they're huge. And so they do some really cool things for the community. So I'd probably say like they're the definition of the hole in the wall like place you have to go to.
Sounds good. I'll have to try it.
Yes. All right. So Zoe, we're not gonna go food because I went food with Mia. So Zoe, we're gonna go with music. If right before the Yale game this Friday, you're running out onto the field, what song should be the theme song for you and why?
Oh my gosh, that's hard. I have one for you. Is it country? Because I'm thinking country. What is yours?
Well, mine was gonna be "Eye of the Tiger." I feel like that really is song. Like country too.
I don't know. I'm really into country right now.
Okay.
So I'm not sure of the exact song. Maybe like okay, this isn't country, but like "Too Sweet" by Hoser. Like it's such a fun like it's not too pump up, but it's also like everyone gets going and sings along to it, and it's new, so most people know it.
Okay, fair enough. An upbeat song to come out to. We'll have somebody have to dial that up for the Yale game and make sure they remember that. Haley, what's your question for me?
What's your like favorite TV show or movie? You can pick either.
TV show, and I don't know if you guys would know this one. This is from back at TGIF. I think y'all know Girl Meets World, but Boy Meets World was better. far better. And it had so many life lessons all the time. And I kind of could understand the perspective from Corey and Eric. And Topanga was my first crush, actually, Danielle Fishel. And then Sean, the relationship with Corey and how they're different, but they're really close friends. I feel like the show spoke to me a lot. And Mr. Feeney, their mentor, I have a Feeney in my life, Mr. DeSantis, and he's actually in my phone as Feeney D for DeSantis. And so I would say probably that show, just because I love it dearly. I also really like the show New Girl, which is on Hulu for a lot of people to check out, because it reminds me of my friends and just the funny things that happen in life and work and dating. So I'd probably have to pick either Boy Meets World or New Girl, I would say.
I love both of those.
Fair enough. See, right answer. So my last question for you all, for you, Hayley, is going to be, I'm going to go somewhere we haven't gone yet. So if you could have a superpower, it's a two-part question. So you have a superpower, it could be anything. What superpower would you pick and why? And then you get to pick anyone in your life. Could be a family member, could be a friend, could be a teacher, and literally anybody, teammate. So you can have a superpower and you can give a superpower to someone. What superpower do you have? And then who do you give the other one to? And what is that superpower?
Okay. Lots to think about. I feel like mine would be invisibility, because then I can just like see if people are talking behind my back, kind of like without them knowing, because I feel like, can't trust people too much.
Fair.
Let's see. I don't know. I love my mom, so I would give her superpower, but I have no clue what it would be. I don't know. Throw out some superpowers. I can't think.
Teleportation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teleportation,
Yeah.
because
That's mine.
my mom hates flying, because she just has she had a bad nosebleed, so now she never wants to get on the plane. And we're supposed to go to Hawaii, and she didn't want to make the trip because it's so long. So I would just give her teleportation. Save a lot of struggle.
Fair enough. That makes perfect sense based on that story. For Hayley, for Zoe, Carla, and Mia here of the Binghamton Bearcats women's lacrosse team, co-champions in the regular season, outright champions in the America East, punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Program history all around, including defeating UAlbany 12-11 in that championship game, which is the school's first victory in women's lacrosse against UAlbany. And they will head this week in a few days on Friday, May 10th. They will be going up against Yale, and that will be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. You've already made a ton of history, so to the Bearcats, I believe in you all and your teammates. I appreciate being a part of this and you allowing me the opportunity to speak with you today, and it was great to be on the field a few days back. So congratulations. God bless with everything. Safe travels. I hope you all teleport very safely a few hours away, and I'll look forward to seeing y'all on Friday and making sure that we pay close attention to what happens against Yale.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome here to a very special edition of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We are inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, Heritage Hill Brewhouse out in Pompey, and Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York. And in this very special spotlight Bearcat Breakroom, we are celebrating the champions, Binghamton University Bearcats women's lacrosse, for co-champions for the first time ever in the regular season, as well as outright America East champions after winning the America East postseason tournament over UAlbany 12-11 after defeating UMBC and punching their ticket to the NCAA tournament, and that win over UAlbany, the first in program history. So with that being said, I am picture-in-picture in the southern tier here with head coach Stephanie Allen of the Bearcats women's lacrosse team. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
And so, Stephanie, first and foremost, I mean, this is, incredible history. And I know there's more work to be done, and I know that this team isn't finished. but to be regular season champions, then be outright champions at the end of the America East tournament and defeat UAlbany for the first time in program history. Just bring me into what all of this has felt like over the last couple of weeks.
It's still soaking in and maybe hasn't fully hit me yet. We're still in grind mode and scout mode and just working, on the next game up and next opponent. So I don't know that it's fully sunk in yet. Incredibly proud of the players in this program and even the alumni that kind of set the stage for this to happen down the road. So I'm sure at some point in time it'll fully hit me. But right now we're just kind of trying to stay in the moment, stay present and keep focused on the next opponent up.
And like you said, alumni helped to pave the way. And that's something that, some people don't speak about enough. And I appreciate the fact that you bring that up, that when we look at this season, you don't think it's just this team, but this is something that's been building for a while. What do you want to say to the journey to get to this point, and some people that may not be on the team right now, but help to build Binghamton women's lacrosse to what it is today?
Yeah, thank you for taking a chance, in a program that's not maybe nationally recognized just yet, or, one that didn't have a winning tradition established. And our alumni are part of, that core group that laid the groundwork, that laid the foundation for what you see happen out there this past weekend. Just to see a lot of them at the game, they're in support of the current players that, they don't know all their faces or names even, but they were the ones that took a chance on a place like Binghamton, saw what we had the potential to do, and did a lot of the gritty work, that led to what results we got yesterday.
And when we look at this team and we look at last season and this season alone, in 2023, your team was, like you said, maybe not getting that national exposure and the overall respect. They were picked to finish 5th of 7 last year, and you were one game shy of an NCAA tournament berth, losing by just 1 goal to UAlbany. This year, you come in, you make it to the championship game in the America East, and you win by 1 goal over UAlbany. So to reflect on the fact that, Binghamton is not always getting that preseason respect, but that doesn't matter, that the voices outside don't matter to the character and the grit and the heart inside of this program, and the fact that you went one step further this year.
Yeah, we use it as motivation and fuel. Seeing those preseason rankings, it doesn't mean a lot to us. The position at the end of the season is all that matters, and maybe we are still flying under the radar. I think they'd prefer to actually be the underdogs. Again, maybe we're still catching some people off guard. I thought we'd have a little bit of a bigger target on our backs this season, and we certainly faced a lot more adversity and tougher competition throughout the course of the season. But I'm excited that this team has really just kept the focus on us, and maybe not let the outside noise or maybe even lack of talk about us, distract them or get in their heads.
You heard your student athletes speak on this and just, the successes that they've had and really just banding together and caring about each other. I know that all of the faces and the voices on this team are very important to you. We heard from Zoe, Mia, Hayley, and Carla. Why did you want the 4 of them to speak in this Bearcat Breakroom after winning the championship?
I think they're all players that play immensely huge roles for us out on the field, but maybe are not necessarily getting the recognition either. Especially on the defensive end. Mia's playing a little bit more of a defensive midfielder role for us. Zoe is a defender. We play a zone that you're not going to see one player stand out above the rest, or one strong matchup defender. We have to play as a unit. We all have to be on. And from that standpoint, a lot of them don't get the recognition maybe that I wish that, or credit that I wish that they received. Hayley, kind of just that unsung hero out on the field.
Yeah.
Doing a huge job of earning possessions for us in the draw circle and giving us the opportunity to have the ball in our offensive end. She's one of very few draw takers at the collegiate level that plays a two-way midfielder position, on top of taking the draw. A lot of these draw specialists are, foregoing and just staying on for that one specific role. And she does a lot more than that. So deserves a ton of credit and kudos. And Carla, she's somebody that I've just really seen blossom this season. I think she's increased her point production by 700% or something from last year. And again, maybe doesn't draw the attention that a Muscolino or a Murphy might, but it is doing one heck of a job as just a sophomore within this program and attacking unit that's, really elevating our offensive unit.
Yeah, and to see this, go throughout the season, as I spoke with the student athletes about when I was with you on the field after you became regular season champs with Albany after the win over Bryant, a very convincing win at home. You and I spoke about where the team was at, and you had expressed the fact that the team had still not shown you everything that they can do. And then you move forward and you go up against UMBC in the America East tournament, and you defeat them, and then you go into that championship against Albany and get the first America East championship in program history for Binghamton Bearcats women's lacrosse. I'm going to ask you again here a couple games later. Have you seen everything, or is this team still trending upward? Is there still more in the tank that you're trying to get out of them?
There's definitely still more in the tank. We're moving in the right direction, and I think there's a lot of moments stringing together of their peak potential. But I do think that this weekend, you're going to see the very best and the hardest battle that this team has fought all season.
After you get the championship, you have the opportunity of watching the selection show. Sitting there, this is your 12th year at the helm of this program at Binghamton University for women's lacrosse. To be with your team 12 years in and looking up at that screen and hearing Binghamton's name called. Just bring me into your mind, your heart, and really your body in that moment, because some people say they have an out-of-body experience. So what was that like to sit there with your team knowing we're going to hear Binghamton, we just got to find out where we're going to be?
It's pretty incredible, a very emotional moment. I've put a lot of heart and soul into this program, but more importantly, the players that have believed in it got to experience that in a different way yesterday. I don't think there was ever a question in this group's mind that they were going to be sitting in those seats. Dating back to the first team meeting in the fall season, we've been talking about it all year. It's been 365 days that I think it's kind of sat with some of these older players within the program, and certainly ate away at me over the course of the last year, wanting a different result than what we had last season. So it was pretty incredible yesterday. A very proud moment of what my staff was able to accomplish, what these players were able to do. And yeah, just very excited for what's next. But I think the most important thing was to me that there was never doubt in these players' mind that we were going to be sitting in those seats and listening for our name to be called.
Like you said, that there was never any doubt going all the way back to the first meeting, and then 365 days of knowing what it was like to be so close to it. It's one thing to get there and say, well, we should have done this, we could have done that. It's another thing to look a year down the road and see that this team put themselves, with the newcomers as well, put themselves right back where they were and went one step further. That takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of poise. It takes a lot of teamwork. It takes a lot of selflessness. It takes a lot of integrity. It takes a lot of faith. Just what you can say about seeing a team frustrated and upset last year, and when a year is in between, a million things can take them away from that focus. Yet here we are going to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think I realized early on with this team and this specific group of players that we have here that they were resilient, that adversity didn't get them off course. And we've seen that through the course of the season. You know, we've hit some hurdles. We've definitely had to adjust some things with personnel throughout the course of the season. And it's always kind of been next woman up and a handful of players that said that they wanted to step up and fill shoes and make an impact. You know, freshmen up through seniors, everybody has been a part of making this happen. And whether it's stepping up in a practice role, in filling in, you know, for somebody in a game that might have gotten carted out or gotten injured, you know, it's easy to turn to the bench and see, you know, a whole row of people that are eager to help and want to be a part of this team's success, and are confident in their own abilities, but, you know, also want to be a part of that impact.
Here with Stephanie Allen, the head coach of the Binghamton University Bearcats women's lacrosse team, making history as regular season co-champs and America East champions outright after the America East tournament and heading to the NCAA tournament. UAlbany has gotten a lot of respect. You talk about Binghamton not always getting in the conversation, or if they're in the conversation, not getting a lot of positive publicity from the outside looking in. UAlbany, quite the opposite. There's the expectation at UAlbany to have a win over UAlbany for the first time in program history and have that win be for a championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament. I know it's something that you wanted. I know it's something that you fought for, but dang it if Binghamton didn't make this one ring when it finally happened.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot going into that week and really who we wanted to see in the championship. It's funny, my assistant Shannon is a Great Dane herself, and we won't hold it against her, but she talked a lot about that expectation, the expectation to be in the championship game for Albany, the expectation to beat Binghamton. And she was excited to be on the other side of history there and be a part of taking them down and, you know, helping our program accomplish that. But, you know, even heading into the final moments of that first semifinal game, we were standing outside with the team ready to walk over to the field. And Albany and UMass Lowell were still playing out there, final minutes to go. And it was a tight, close game. And I turned to my seniors and I said, who would you rather face in the finals? And for them to step up to the challenge and say, we want one more go at Albany before we leave this university was pretty exciting for me as a coach, to hear them not shy away from the challenge of facing a team that we've never beaten in program history, to make it that much more meaningful to them to take down Albany, you know, in the championship game. And I knew at that point in time, like this group was going to get it done.
And as this group steps forward in this Bearcat Breakroom, spotlighting the Binghamton University Bearcats women's lacrosse team with head coach Stephanie Allen here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Before we jump to rapid fire, Stephanie, I want to take a look at how you have grown as a coach. And from the first meeting, you talked about that first meeting and how you knew that this team really truly believed they were going to be sitting in those chairs on a selection night and get to see their name called. How have you grown from that first meeting for this season, that first step out of last season into this season? Where has Stephanie Allen come from beginning, well, I should say the end of last year, to this year where we are right now?
Oh, that's a tough one. You know, I think just as a coaching staff, we've grown. I have an entirely new staff this year, and I've had to learn, you know, how to adapt to coaching with and managing people differently. You know, they have helped me take a step back as well and give up more of the reins and trust in their abilities. They make that very easy to do. But I think over the course of the season, you know, it's been fun to watch them take on a larger leadership role with their units and, you know, put a lot of trust in them. You know, I'm very much a type A personality, so I want to have my hands on everything, but I do think that over the course of the season, I've grown confidence in their abilities and their growth as assistant coaches, and the way that they can communicate and relate to our players and build confidence in our players is something that has been a big part of our success. And for me, it's, getting on board with that, but, letting the reins be loosened a little bit and them kind of take over and do what they do best. I think that's probably been one of the biggest things, but, just with this team in general, they've made me much calmer as a coach. I don't think I've had nearly the level of composure throughout the course of a season and belief in, what was going to happen as the end result of a game than I have this season. And, I think that's been fun to kind of, maybe not have as much fear in the outcome, but trust in what we've instilled throughout the course of practice and preparation that's put in that they can handle those bigger moments as players as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously huge, and again, speaks to the chemistry and the culture and the environment at Binghamton University for this women's lacrosse team. Right before rapid fire, we know Friday, May 10th, 1 p.m. Eastern time, that next game up, which is going to be Yale University, and that game will find us in the NCAA tournament for the Binghamton University Bearcats women's lacrosse team, and that's going to be in New Haven, Connecticut. And of course, you can go to bubearcats.com, click on women's lacrosse, and find out how you can watch, as well as live stats and any history here. The first round, May 10th, this Friday, 1 p.m. Once again, what can you tell us about what's coming up in a few days with Yale?
We're just tackling scout now and getting a chance to take a look at them, know the level of players they have within their program and the success that they've found so far this season. They are going to be aggressive. They're going to be composed in the pressure of the moment. And I'm excited for our players to get the opportunity to go out and compete on this platform. For us, today is all about recovery and getting our players back to, a place that we can step out there tomorrow and get a good solid practice in. It'll be probably just, lighter, some 7v7 over the next couple of days, and maybe some walkthrough stuff in terms of sets and systems that we might face. But, fine tuning the little things, the little things have to be taken care of out there on the game. They're going to be, what makes the biggest impact out there. So we've just got to talk through some defensive, slide packages, some draw control, ground ball work, all the little things, and certainly, doing what we can to limit card situations out there, and just some overall discipline.
Yeah, and I think with any game, and you could say this yourself, people say it's coach speak, but it's reality, is you can't look at the opponent on the other side. You could scout them and what they do and whatnot, but when it comes down to what you can control, that's what you have to do. You got to play Binghamton's game and make sure you take care of business. So I know that'll be handled in practice this week, and have full faith in not only you, but your staff and these student athletes who have made history, but are definitely still hungry and not done with what they've done up to this point. Let's play some rapid fire. We've done it before. Stephanie, you get to ask me the first question.
Oh, man. I guess I should have been more prepared here. Favorite book or book you've read recently?
I have to finish this book, but I would say I've been reading it over time, and it's called Still Foolin' 'Em, and it's by Billy Crystal. And I have a connection to the sports and entertainment world, and we have Superpowered Pop, the entertainment show, where we speak with illustrators and writers and actors and actresses, and I like to live in that world of screenwriting and doing some of that down the road in my life. I've done some acting, I've done some technical work, so I would say reading his book and feeling like I understand, because him and I seem to have things that are in common that we can appreciate from the sports and entertainment world. And no matter how old you get, there's certain people that you're just like, wow, I get to be friends with this person, or I get to talk with this person. So I think his book just seems very down to earth, very real, and it speaks to my career up to this point. So I would say I got to finish Billy Crystal's book, Still Fooling Them.
Cool.
I would say that. All right, Stephanie, my first question for you. Well, since you asked about books, what is the greatest book you've ever read and why?
Oh gosh. Favorite book ever. I mean, this is not probably a favorite of everybody's, but I like Virginia Woolf. She wrote a book called A Room of One's Own, feminist at heart, and just like the female empowerment of taking care of yourself and not relying on other people to do that for you. Having your own space, having your own, financial stability. I think that's a book that's kind of always spoken to me. It's really short. It's a quick read if anyone wants to pick it up, but I just enjoy reading or doing the Audible books. I travel a ton. I'm in my car a ton. Even when I'm sitting there doing work, I'm probably listening to a book, through Audible. So I try and get through a book a week or maybe every 2 weeks. So I've got a lot on my favorites list. I think I finished one on Thursday or Friday this past week by Emily Henry called Funny People. So I like her as an author as well. It's a lot more lighthearted than Virginia Woolf.
Fair enough. What is your next question?
You got a Sunday off, from work or watching sports. What's kind of on the agenda?
Well, I was supposed to this past Sunday have a lazy Sunday, and I didn't get in bed to relax with my dog until 11 o'clock at night. So I didn't really listen to what I planned on doing. But I would say that if I had just kind of a, not do anything, relax, I would probably make some breakfast, make my own breakfast in bed, and make some pancakes, blueberry chocolate chip pancakes, homemade, bring them upstairs, and then have my little dog Lily, and we'd probably watch movies all day. And so some New Girl, some movies. And yeah, I mean, I think Lily really appreciates when I sit down, when I actually relax or like get in bed. So I would say it would be food and just watching some really cool stuff and hanging out with my dog, because I know that she appreciates the company because I'm running around a lot. And I know that my time with her is very peaceful and she's the best. So I'd probably say that. Gotta pick Lily. All right, this will be the final question here for rapid fire. So Stephanie, for you, okay, so let's go to relaxation. We're going to stick with that. If you had the opportunity to take a week off and you're going to travel to 3 different places within that week off, I know we've talked about places that you've traveled, things you've gotten to do, but you can go back to a place you've been to, or you can go somewhere new. If you had a week to just kind of hang out, where would you make your 3 stops?
Man, 3 stops. I got to think about like distance and proximity to each other, but
let's give you 2 weeks. I'll give you 2 weeks, so then you can have more proximity. You don't have to worry about proximity.
Vacation.
Yeah.
It's funny, we were talking about this on the bus the other day, and some people's spots that they might travel to. I've had the fortune to travel a lot in my life, but some places that I haven't been, I would probably do like an African safari, then go see pyramids in Egypt. And then those have got to be like, we're moving around, we're doing excursions, not a lot of like downtime. And then maybe I'm hitting up Bali from there, or possibly the Greek islands. I've been to Mykonos and Santorini, but maybe just, like back to one of those and chilling for the last portion of that trip.
Safari, pyramids, relaxation. Sounds perfect. For you and I feel like right now that's a screensaver. But at some point, hopefully everybody gets to take those trips. I would love to take a trip overseas to go see my family in Italy and Spain. I know you've gotten to travel, and I know that you will be traveling again to sunny Connecticut, and that'll be this Friday, May 10th at 1 o'clock. And once again, go to bubearcats.com, everybody. If you can't make it to the game, make sure you are watching and supporting the team. Stephanie, you have an incredible support system. You spoke about the alumni, but just the community in general, be it people in Binghamton and in the Southern Tier or all over the world. When I put out the championship graphic that Binghamton had there, the amount of response that I got was incredible. All of the kind words, all of the likes and the loves of the post, it was pretty instant. So I know you probably already know this, but there's a lot of people that are watching, a lot of people that are excited. And I can tell you this, if you have any moment of adversity on that field, there's a giant wave of Bearcat support that's always going to be coming your way. And I saw that over these last couple days.
Oh, that's good to hear. I feel like we've got the best fans in the country, our parents, our alumni, even just the number of Binghamton staff members that made the trip on their own dollar to get out to Albany this past weekend. It kind of warmed our hearts. It was pretty awesome to see. We loved getting to celebrate that moment with all those people present as well.
Yeah, so from the Heritage Hill Studios, this is the Bearcat Breakroom, celebrating and spotlighting Binghamton University Bearcats women's lacrosse with head coach Stephanie Allen. Stephanie, as always, thank you for your time. Safe travels, and we'll be watching.
All right. Thanks so much, Dan.
Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Del Mar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your sports card and hobby shop. It is open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. And they have everything you need to keep your collection going or to start your collection if you're just getting into the sports card and trading card world. They have hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer, football, all sport, AEW, UFC, while supplies last. And of course, they also have, while supplies last, Disney Lorcana and Pokemon. And I say while supplies last because they're constantly bringing in new product and people are constantly buying that product and different things that they're bringing in at different times. So make sure you go out to GG Cards and Breaks and see everything that they have, including their display cases of singles and graded cards, their packs, their boxes. And they're the only place that I know that has an MLB section, an NBA section, and an NFL section filled with every single team with their own box. Every MLB team, every NFL team, every NBA team with their own box where you can say, hey, I'm a Raptor fan. You pull the Raptor box out, you sit down, and you go through all the Raptors cards. And these aren't just base cards, folks. You could find number cards. You can find autograph cards. You could find different refractors and inserts as well as relics within these boxes of your favorite team. So make sure you head out to GG Cards and Breaks today and discover something to add to your collection or to start your collection on 639 Del Mar Place in Syracuse, New York. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, we are, of course, inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill in Pompey, Heritage Hill in North Syracuse, Palladino Farms inside of Syracuse Hancock International Airport. Find Heritage Hill wherever you're at and wherever you're going, as we say in our special message. So Heritage Hill, I want to thank them for all that they've done in this community of Central and Upstate New York. And I just really appreciate it. I'm very excited about this partnership. I'm excited to have them as our exclusive studio partner and to let you know that every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Wake Up Call is coming to you from the Heritage Hill Studios. Awesome stuff. Very much looking forward to all the history we're going to make together and the history we've already started to make. Speaking of history, our final segment on every Tuesday broadcast is the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the street from Liverpool High School and the home of our Liverpool High School Warriors signature events every single month. This week, we are going to be there twice. We will be there on Thursday, and then we'll be back, we'll be there on Wednesday, and then we'll be back on Thursday. So we look forward to seeing you out on site, on location at Avicolli's this Wednesday, May 8th, with Liverpool Boys Lacrosse at 6 p.m., and on Thursday, May 9th, with Liverpool Girls Flag Football, also at 6 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you out there at Avicolli's. Avicolli's every single week proudly brings you the Ingredients to Success, a positive segment on a positive broadcast, looking to increase the positive input and output of your life. So, today's topic, creating good habits. Now, habits can be created good or bad over time. And it is said that it takes 21 days to create a good habit or a bad habit. 21 days to create a habit. 3 weeks. That's what it takes. So the question becomes, what habits are you creating in your life? Are you someone who is eating that food that you know isn't good for you and saying to yourself, I'm going to change, I'm going to get better? Are you that person who, goes out and gets your paycheck and wastes your money really quick and you say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I got to be good about that. What are you doing in your life that's either a good habit or a bad habit? Are you walking? Are you doing your cardio? Are you getting enough rest? Are you doing the opposite? See, good habits and bad habits, they're both habits, habitual, repetitive, things that we do all the time. So if we're eating bad, it's a habit, right? If we continue to do it. If we're eating good, it's a habit if we continue to do it. If we're working out, it's a habit if we continue to do it. If we're sitting on the couch and never working out, it's a habit if we continue to do it. See, there's this thing that they say, the first time somebody does something, it might be a mistake. Might be a coincidence, whatever you want to call it. I don't believe in coincidences, but first time somebody does something hurtful to you, it might be a mistake. Second time, it's a pattern. Third time, it's a lifestyle. The rule of 3. And then in a habit, the rule of 3 weeks. So you look at somebody and you look at who they are consistently. What type of habits do they have in their lives? What type of habits are they showing you? What type of habits are you showing other people? Creating good habits is the same as creating bad habits. It comes with dedication and consistency, both consciously and subconsciously. Because if you want to work out and you're conscious about it, and you're conscious about doing it, and making it a part of your life, right? I want to work out. I'm going to be conscious about working out. I'm going to make a plan to do it, right? You're creating a habit. When I started my 10,000 steps a day, it started with a day of frustration. I just needed to get out of the house. It was during COVID. I had something happen in my life personally. I felt trapped in my brain and I felt trapped in my house. So I got out and I walked. And then I did it the second day because I just had to keep going. And then I got to 10 days and I thought, I kind of like this. I can get used to this. Then I did it again. Then I did it again. Then we're getting to 100 days and 200 days and so on and so forth. Creating good habits You first and foremost have to decide what you want, right? It helps me to write it down on paper. Here are the things I want to accomplish in my life. These are the things that I want to have in my life. This is what I want to focus on. This is what I want to do. These are the things that matter to me. I would like to eat better. I would like to get 10,000 steps a day. I would like to get more rest. I would like to be on time to everything. So those are your habits, right? You write them down. This is what I would like to do. But then how do we execute that? Well, simple, Dan. You just do it. Really? Is that how life works? You just do it? You don't have moments where you're like, I've been late most of my life. I've been on time the last 5 days. I could be late the 6th day, right? In your head, because remember, when you're creating good habits, you have to get rid of bad habits. You're combating whatever you were to what you want to become. So you're going to have adversity. You're going to have some pushback, right? Yeah, I want to eat good, but I can eat bad today. Yeah, I want to do this, but I could do this today. And it comes with consistency, repetition. So I would say if you want to create good habits in your life, first and foremost, think about what's important to you. Think about the habits you want to create. Write them down. And then start to say to yourself, okay, if I want to get up earlier every single day, and maybe let's say you get up at 8 a.m., but you want to start getting up at 7. Maybe instead of doing such a drastic jump from 8 to 7, why don't we do 7:30? Okay? And if we want to get up at 7:30, maybe we set the alarm for 7:15, knowing that we're going to snooze it a couple times. Because if we set the alarm for 7:30, then it's going to end up being 8 o'clock again really quick. So if we get up at 8, we want to get up at 7, maybe we start getting up at 7:30, but we set an alarm before 7:30, 7:20, 7:25, 7:28 to get our butt out of bed at 7:30, right? So you write down that you want to get up earlier, then you come up with a plan. Then you ease into that plan, right? You ease into that plan because your body's used to staying in bed till 8 o'clock. So now let's try to go to 7:30. And as we're getting comfortable at 7:30, I'm not saying spend a year at 7:30. I'm saying a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks at 7:30. Now let's push. Now let's push to 7. Let's go a little bit earlier, right? So you create the habit, or you write down the habit. Then you start figuring out, how am I going to do this, right? If you're used to eating cheeseburgers every single day of your life, and you say, okay, I'm never going to eat cheeseburgers again, that's a drastic shift in you, and you're probably going to fall off, right? So maybe what we say is, let's have cheeseburgers 1 day a week. Let's not pick a day, because then we're going to look forward to Thursday and we're not going to appreciate the other days, right? If you love cheeseburgers and you want a cheeseburger every day, you're going to want to get to that cheeseburger every single day, which means that if you say, okay, I'm only going to have cheeseburgers on Monday, now you're thinking about Monday every day of the week just to get to that. So maybe we don't pick a day. We say, okay, we're going to have cheeseburgers once a week. This week it's Tuesday, next week it's Thursday, then it's Monday. It's whatever day, but we're going to have it once a week, not 7 days a week. But we're not going to pick a certain day so that we appreciate the other days. Because the thing is, when you're trying to get rid of this habit, you're going to be wanting that cheeseburger. And if you say every Thursday I'm having a cheeseburger, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're wishing for that cheeseburger. You're not appreciating your meals. You're not appreciating your time. So let's say fast food. Let's do fast food in general. Dan, I eat too much fast food. I'm always on the road. I'm always bouncing around. So how are we going to create a good habit for you to not eat fast food every day? Well, when you're home, we have to meal prep, right? It's something that I did Sunday. Sunday night, I had gone to the grocery store. I came home and I went to the grocery store during the day on Sunday after church. And Sunday night, I made my homemade shrimp scampi. I wasn't that hungry, so I ate just a little bit of it. And then I have a ton of it sitting there. Sunday night, today's Tuesday. I meal prepped. So I said to myself, for lunch today, I'm having my shrimp scampi, which prevents me from going and getting fast food in between meetings, in between different things that I have to do. Because I'm not a person who likes to go to certain places in the fast food world, but I will go there because I've given myself no time in between. So, meal prep, okay? For those of you that are trying to eat better, meal prep. You got some time on a Tuesday. Let's say today you got some time. You got nothing going on tonight. You got some stuff. You got some freedom, right? So how about tonight we make a couple things, right? You got some popcorn chicken in the fridge. You wanted to roll that in the barbecue sauce. You wanted to make some boneless wings at home. So let's do some boneless barbecue wings. We got that sweet potato with the mashed sweet potatoes we got to make before a certain date. Let's make those mashed sweet potatoes. Let's have those ready. Let's have the chicken ready. Let's put it in the fridge for tonight. Or let's say in my case, I got the shrimp scampi that I made, right? So that's a today food. I made it on Sunday night. It's for today. So now we make the chicken and we make the sweet potato today while you're at home for an hour. You make that stuff and then you put that in the fridge for tomorrow night. So you start to plan ahead, right? So now when you're hungry, and you're going, oh crap, I got this meeting, I got to do this, I got to do that. Now in between, you can eat that stuff when you got, 30 minutes before you got to leave the house. Now you got food ready, so you're not rushing to a place on the road. Different things that we have to think about, right? Different things that we have to pay attention to. And it's easy to slip into an old habit, no matter how long you've been away from it, right? It's easy to slip in to a bad habit, right? Some people like energy drinks. There's a lot of stuff in them. Most of us have no idea half of the stuff that's in them. But let's say you haven't taken one in 3 months, but you keep looking at it in the grocery store, It's like a cigarette. And you say to yourself, man, I really want a cigarette, but you've done good for 3 months to not smoke that cigarette. And then one day you decide to smoke the cigarette. Now you got the taste back. Now you don't want to let it go. Now you have to retrain yourself. See, the thing about creating good habits is when we take things out of our lives that are working against us, if we let them in just a little bit, we can fall right back into that, right? If you start to get better about doing laundry, all right, I'm going to do laundry once a week. And then you let it go. So you've done laundry once a week for the past 4 months, right? 16 weeks of doing laundry, almost a half a year of being committed to doing laundry every week. Good for you. And then that 17th week, you're like, man, I can get away with it. And then it's 18. And now all of a sudden you have no underwear, you have no socks, and you got an interview for a new business that you want to work with, that you want to work for. What are you going to do? Right? So our consistency is important. I'm not saying that, you could have a light week where maybe you don't have to do as much laundry. You could have a week where maybe you don't have to travel as much. And maybe that week you adjust a few things. Maybe that week you change up a few things. So what it really comes down to is just being consistent and being focused, right? I'm not saying to you, hey, do laundry when you don't have any laundry to do. What I'm saying to you is make a plan and stick to your plan. Understanding that life happens, but if you get into, put it to you like this. I don't have a wife and I don't have kids yet, right? So I don't have a wife and I don't have kids. I got Lily, who's my kid, and we have a great relationship. I can always be better. I could spend more time with her. I can make sure I come home more during the day. So that's a habit that I'm trying to create, right? If I create this habit now with Lily, where every few hours I'm coming home as opposed to staying out a little bit longer, I'm spacing out my meetings so that I can come home and she's not in her kennel for a longer period of time. If I cut down her kennel time and I don't get rid of my meetings, but I space them out and I move them around, now I'm spending more time with her. She's spending more time out of her kennel. I feel better as a father. She gets to enjoy her day more. She's not sitting and waiting for me all day, and I'm still doing the things I need to do. So if we create a system like that, and I say, okay, now I have a system. After the show, I'm going to give myself at least an hour. Then if I have a meeting after the show, let's say the show ends at 11:30, and I give myself an hour, that's 12:30. So between 12:30 and 2:30, I schedule meetings, but I don't schedule meetings from 12:30 to 4:30 so that Lily's alone for 4 hours. So now I've created this system of I give myself an hour to rest my voice and breathe after the show. Then I have meetings, and then I come home, and then maybe I go out again, but I come home in between. So now I start dating. Now I have this system. The system's already been in place. So now that system allows me to do that. So maybe now with the hour I give myself after the show, I start dating. She wants to go to lunch. That's fine. That's an hour I gave myself after the show to not go to meetings and rush out of the house. So now she can fit into that. Okay, now I can have lunch with her. I can have fun with her. And I'm not messing with Lily's time. I'm not messing with my time. I'm not messing with my meetings. Now you bring kids into the picture and you say, okay, now I got a wife and kids, and I have this system that I created of when I come home and when I do this. So now if I'm coming home at 2:30, 3 o'clock, guess what that time is? Time for me to take care of Lily. Also usually when kids get out of school. So now I've created a system years ahead of having children that helps me to be able to function with Lily and kids. See, the habits you create today can help you when your life gets busier. Because the thing about life is it gets chaotic and we say we need to change something, right? But the important thing is to work on it now while we're thinking about it before it gets chaotic. Everybody wants to make life better when it's chaotic, but when it's peaceful and it's calm, that's when we should be planning, because the chaos is going to come. And it could be good chaos. I tell people that all the time. I say I'm busy in a good way. I am busy in a good way, right? But I can be more focused. If I want to have cereal in the morning and the show starts at 9 o'clock and I got to go to the studio, I can't have cereal. I can't get up at 8:30. I have to get up at 8. And maybe I want to see what's going on in the sports world. Maybe I want to sit in the office. So now I got to get up before that. So I can sit down. So I can sit at the office. I can get to the office at 8 o'clock. I can be there watching the TV. I got an hour. I got my cereal. I got everything ready. I'm good to go. Right? So when you want to do something, you have to write it down. That's part of the ingredients to success of creating good habits. Then you have to write down beneath that, how can I successfully do this, right? Because things are dreams until you put them on paper. Then they become goals. Then when you turn these dreams into goals, then these goals have to have bullet points. How do I get to this goal? How do I take this dream of mine and make it an actual reality? What do I need to do to execute this successfully? I don't like being late. So if I know that when I have dinner at 5:30 and it's down the road, I'm not, I'm not putting my shoes on until 5:15, 5:20. I'm not going to be on time. So now put my shoes on at 5 o'clock. Could be as simple as that, putting my shoes on at 5 o'clock. Because that's telling my body we're going somewhere. That's telling me I don't want to be standing on my carpet with my shoes on. So now I'm not going to be in this room. I'm not going to be in that room. So now I'm in the front room. Now I'm getting ready to go, right? And preparing yourself for things like that. Preparing yourself for, if I know my habits that make me late. If I know that, hey, I'm laying down with the dog and I got to be somewhere at 5:30 and it's 5 o'clock. You don't start a show at 5 o'clock. You don't turn something on at 5 o'clock. Maybe you just play with Lily. Maybe, you lay in bed, pet her for a little bit. Maybe you throw, a toy around for a little while, but you don't start a show. Because if you start a show, the show's a half hour. What you're going to want to do is watch it. And with commercials, without commercials, maybe it ends at 5:20, you're going to be late. So don't start a show at 5 o'clock. See, when you're creating a good habit, you have to write them down. And like I said, write those pieces. Look at the thing. You have to be honest with yourself. Look at the things you do wrong. Look at the times where you're not your best self and change those things, right? You know what makes you late. You know what makes you tired. You know what makes you feel guilty. You know what makes you feel sick. So changing those things, it's not as easy as somebody yelling at you. Change them. But, okay, if you're someone who drinks energy drinks 7 days a week, cut it to 3. If you want to cut it out altogether, you can't go from 7 to 0, but start to pull back. If you're somebody that drinks way too much coffee, and let's say you drink 4 cups a day, let's cut it back to 3 for this week. Maybe a week and a half. Then let's cut it to 2. My parents used to drink coffee all the time. They drink coffee in the morning. They drink coffee during the day when they were at work. They drink coffee at night. If they didn't have at least 3 cups of coffee, they were getting a headache. Now my mom hardly drinks coffee. But it was a systematic thing over time that she had to do with herself. Now, obviously, certain things that are like more unhealthy, you got to maybe cut back a little bit sooner, but you have to put it down on paper. And I don't know if you're like me, but when you write something down on paper and you don't do it, I put a to-do list in my house this week. I put a to-do list over the weekend in my kitchen. And I looked at that to-do list yesterday and I had done none of it. And I felt guilty. And I said, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I better get some of the stuff done. And I want to cross some of the stuff out. Because looking at it and seeing nothing crossed out, it affected me more. If it's just a thought, you could put that away. But if it's written down on a sheet of paper and you put it in a place where you have to walk by it every single day, all throughout the day, now you're sitting here going, I need to do it, I need to do it, I need to do it. So I think putting things down on paper is helpful. I think putting bullet points down on paper is helpful. I think talking to people that love and support you that maybe went through it or maybe can give you some good advice about it, I think that's helpful. I think prayer is helpful. And I think knowing who you are in the bad habit and out of the bad habit is helpful too, right? You drink a lot of coffee, you get really jittery. You're not drinking coffee these last 3 or 4 days, you're not as jittery. And you feel good, and you feel like you have more energy, and you feel better, and your throat's not dry, and you feel more peaceful, and you're not running to the bathroom. Remind yourself of that when your body yearns for the caffeine. Remind yourself of all of the positive things that have come from not doing that. Because your body will tell you, your mind will tell you. When you get more sleep, you could see better, your mind is more at ease. When I walk, my mind clears in a way that it never cleared before. Walking helps me to clear and to grab a hold of my thoughts instead of my thoughts grabbing a hold of me. So when you stop walking and you start to get stressed out and worried and nervous and now you're falling into old bad habits, you tell yourself, well, when I was walking, I was calm. When I was walking, I had control of my thoughts. When I was walking, I felt like my brain was working with me and not against me. So remind yourself of that when you're tired and you don't want to walk, when you just want to sit and eat potato chips. Get up and walk because remember how good you felt. See, when you're doing something good and you got a taste of something bad, and that taste of something bad, figurative or literal, brings you into that bad thing, remember the other side of it. The taste of something good made you feel a certain way too, right? The taste of something good. Because our bad habits are easy to get into, right? I'm going to put my phone down. I'm not going to be scrolling on my phone before I go to bed. Because what it does is it makes your brain keep working. And what people don't understand, me included, is that if you're on your phone at night, if you get into bed at 11 o'clock and you're on your phone from 11 to midnight and you want to go right to bed, you're not going to fall right asleep because you just made your brain go for an hour. So if you get in bed at 11 and you want to be asleep by 11:30, you get in bed at 11, which means that phone is away from you at 11. Not at 11:30, not at 11:45, because what did I do last night? I said, okay, I'm going to get in bed, I'm going to relax. And I did. And I watched a show. And I got on my phone. And I got on my phone. And I got on my phone. I got in bed at like 9 o'clock, a little after 9 o'clock. I didn't go to bed until the time I normally do, which is after midnight, because I was on my phone. So writing it down makes you have to see it every day. And it creates guilt. And I'm not saying guilt is a great thing, but sometimes you need it. Sometimes walking by a sign that says, always be early, always be early, always be early, and you've been late for the last 3 months, that thing is staring at you every single day. So it never leaves your brain that you have to be better. But in order to be better, you have to be dedicated to it, write it down, write down how you're going to change these things, and take those steps. Okay? Not everybody can stop smoking cold turkey. Not everybody can be on time cold turkey. Not everybody can stop doing something cold turkey. But easing into it can help you. Easing into it. Okay? I'm late all the time, so let's try being on time. And then let's try being early. But to tell someone who's 20 minutes late to be a half an hour early, that's 50 minutes. That's almost an hour. Okay? Instead of asking them to take an hour difference, how about we tell them, just be on time. Just be on time. You got a meeting at 12:30 and you know it takes 22 minutes, don't leave the house at noon. Leave the house at 11:40. And let's be on time. Then you feel good, you feel good, you feel good, you feel good. Now I'm leaving at 11:30. Now I'm getting a coffee on the way to the meeting. Right? But I'm not getting a coffee every day. Maybe I'm getting it once a week. I'm cutting down on my caffeine. Habitual things. People are creatures of habit. We are. Right? So if you are consistent in a good way, that's going to build your life up. If you're consistent in a bad way that works against you, you're going to tear your life down. Because habits are going to... You have habits in your life whether or not you think you do. When you say, Dan, I need some good habits, guess what? You got some bad ones. If you really desperately want some good ones, you got some bad ones. Whatever you do, that's who you are. Right? You can tell people, I don't eat fast food, I'm not a fast food person. But if you go get fast food 4 out of 7 days of the week, you're a fast food person more often than you're not. Right? Don't want to admit it, but I'm right. Right? That's what you do. You know, I'm a person that loves to cook, but you cook once every 3 weeks. You might love to cook, but you most certainly are not cooking. We can say whatever we want to say. Everybody says all the nice things, all the good things, all the positive things. But you got to be willing to put the work in if you actually want to get the positive results. Everybody wants to look good for the most part. Most people want to look good. But how many people put the work in? Right? No, they go have surgery. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to have surgery. I'm going to have you suck it all out of me. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to take a pill. But putting the work in, that's what people don't understand. If you're 400 pounds and you go to the doctor and you have them suck the fat out of your body and bring you down to 220 pounds, they haven't changed any of your habits. So yes, they saved you 180 pounds. They took that out, but you're going to gain it all back because you have not created the habits over time to lose the weight and to be proud of yourself and to know what it feels like. If somebody gave me the gift of teleportation It wouldn't make me stop being late. It would give me the opportunity to go anywhere I wanted to go whenever I wanted to go, but that still wouldn't stop me from watching a show until 5:20 when I have to be somewhere at 5:30. Now I'd be like, well, now I can watch it till 5:20 and I snap my fingers and I'm somewhere else. But it doesn't create a good habit with me. It's not making me a better person. Quick fixes don't make you better. They are over time habits that you have to create and become consistent with. Nobody likes saying, I'm really happy that I worked out 3 years ago. I'm really happy that I started to, read the Bible 2 years ago and then stop. We have to be dedicated. We have to be dedicated to the things that we want to accomplish, or else we will fall right back into where we were. And I don't want that for you, and I most certainly don't want that for me either. So, if we want to get better, we have to work toward it. Think about what's important to you, write it down, bullet points underneath it of how you're going to do it, and give yourself a ramp to go on, right? A plane can't go from sitting on a runway to taking off. It has to go down the runway. It has to go down the runway at a certain speed and pick up speed as it goes. So if you're trying to create a good habit in your life, think about yourself like a plane. You gotta get all those bullet points on the plane, right? Like the people. You gotta get all those things to get you on the plane. All those bullet points, you got to succeed. Go through that checklist to get yourself just on the runway to make that change. So you do all those things in order to make that change. When you do those things in your life to make that change, right? I want to get up earlier, so I'm going to go to bed a little bit earlier. I'm going to put my phone away. Those things, those little things to get yourself to the runway. So now you're on the runway. And you want to get up at 8 o'clock. So you set an alarm at 7:30. And you snooze it and you snooze it. Now you're going a little bit faster on the runway, right? Now if you want to get up at 8 o'clock, you're not snoozing it as often because you're getting more sleep. So now you want to get up a little bit earlier. That's like taking off a little bit faster. And then before you know it, you're getting up at 7 o'clock, you're giving yourself an hour. You want to get up at 8, you're giving yourself an extra hour. Now you see more of the day. Now at times during the year, you see the sunrise, you hear the birds chirping, you go have your coffee on the porch instead of spilling it all over yourself when you're getting in the car because you got 10 minutes to get to your job. And all of a sudden, your life becomes less chaotic, less stressful, more peaceful. You are like a plane. We all are. We have to have all of our parts to put the plane together. When the plane's together and it's ready to fly, we ease into it. We take off slow, then we gain speed before we soar. Think about that like creating a good habit. You got to start at the end of the runway, or the beginning of the runway, I should say. One end of the runway. You got to start there. And you'll pick up speed over time. And eventually, you'll fly right toward your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and you'll achieve them. Those dreams will become a reality, and then you'll go on to the next thing. Instead of compounding bad habits, let's create one good habit, and I promise you, if you create one good habit in a life full of bad habits, that good habit will multiply like the bad ones did, and before you know it, you'll have more good habits than bad habits, and hopefully you won't have any bad habits. Because we only got one time to live this life. Why waste it? The ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, down the street from Liverpool High School. And we will be at Avicolli's for our Liverpool Warriors Spotlight monthly broadcast. We got 2 of them this month, same week. This Wednesday, May 8th, we will be at Avicolli's at 6 p.m. with Liverpool Warriors Boys Lacrosse. And on Thursday, May 9th at 6 p.m. as well, we'll be with Liverpool Girls Flag Football for the Warriors. Make sure that you plan on coming out to Avicolli's and seeing us both nights, supporting the wonderful student athletes, coaches, and administration, and our community as a whole. We thank you for watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, we're on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. You can find us by going to any one of these outlets and more and searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and you'll find us on all of these wonderful places, as well as even more places. A big time thanks to our incredible partners that you should visit in Central and Upstate New York. Of course, our exclusive studio partner, Heritage Hill Brew House in Pompey, Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York, right by Sweetheart Corner, and Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicolli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, K9 Campground Dog Boarding, Mother's Cupboard, Great Lakes Honda City, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Dolphins every single Wednesday during Dolphin time, and that is Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. First and third Wednesday of each month with AD and DT, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, a.k.a. DT, taking a behind-the-scenes look and giving you exclusive information on the Lemoyne College Dolphins over the years. Every second and fourth Wednesday, you'll find the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student-athletes, coaches, and administration, as well as future Dolphins and alumni. You can find all of our content with the Dolphins by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find the Lemoyne playlist on our YouTube channel, and you can also find Lemoyne on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more info, go to lemoynedolphins.com. Fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bobcats in what we call the Bobcat Buzz every single month, with student athletes, coaches, and administration joining me throughout the year. And I'm very honored and privileged that the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are in two locations here in Central New York. You can continue your education, as well as, if you have some eligibility left as a student athlete, you have the opportunity for men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, as well as baseball and esports, and all of their academic programs and successful programs that have a high percentage rate of getting you into a job right away by going to either one of their campuses, James Street in Syracuse, as well as right off of Route 57 in Liverpool, literally across the street from Avicolli's. Bobcat Buzz coming to you every single month. Find the Bobcats on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll find the BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You'll also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. Go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bearcats like you did today during Bearcat time. The Bearcats joining us Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with specials. We have monthly Moments with Marshall, featuring Athletics Director of Binghamton University, Gene Marshall, and a behind-the-scenes look at Binghamton, and the Bearcat Breakroom, which you got a double dose of today, with the Bearcats joining us, student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the years of their many programs at Binghamton University. Today, spotlighting the historic season that Binghamton women's lacrosse is having and will hopefully continue to have. You will find all of our Bearcat specials by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find the Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel as well. And you can also find the Bearcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, I want to thank you for tuning in. We started our NFL offseason weapons. Who's on the offense of each of these teams? There's been so many changes. There's been some teams that have stayed pretty consistent, though, at the same time. We started with Arizona. We got to Green Bay. We'll continue to take a look around the NFL so you know the new faces and the new weapons on each of these 32 NFL franchises. We appreciate your conversation, being a part of that with us. Want to give a big thanks to the Binghamton University Bearcats women's lacrosse team for being our spotlight once again in our Bearcat Breakroom. I want to thank head coach Stephanie Allen, as well as Mia Forte, Carla Curth, as well as Zoe Congdon and Hayley Weltner for being a part of the broadcast and being able to share that with you. These will air as their own separate specials outside of the show. They will be re-aired on YouTube and Facebook today at 12. It's noon Eastern time, actually, so coming up in just a couple minutes, and at 12:35 p.m. Eastern time as well. So make sure you look out for those. Big time thanks to Avicolli's for the ingredients to success, and looking forward to being at Avicolli's for the next couple days. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. From the Heritage Hill Studios, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and I very proudly tell you, God bless, no stress, do your best. Have a fantastic day, stay safe, and be good to each other.